Hey everyone, welcome back. Chris McCormick, joined by Blake Smith. Today we are in our Scottsdale HQ studio and have an opportunity to take a first look at a new offering from Miura. And always pretty exciting when we see something from Miura, because it's usually about every 3 or 4 years when they come out with something new. Yep. So talk to us a little bit. We've got new product, IC-602.
Yeah, the IC-602. This is Miura's longest iron that they've ever made. You're gonna see that this thing's constructed a little bit differently, but the feel is gonna be there. So they're matching feel and performance. They're meticulous in their design. As I've said before, I'm a big fan of Miura. I'm getting antsy, I really wanna hit this thing.
Fair enough. We've got it paired up with Fuji Axiom and IC-602. Gonna see some bombs today.
Yeah, I'm gonna nuke this thing.
Before we get into the bay, make sure, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, set some shots.
All right.
So Blake in the hitting bay here, IC-602 on deck, ready to go. Like you had mentioned, new category of iron from Miura. So we're entering into that hollow cavity iron and now introducing a polymer in the 3 through 9 iron and really looking for a little bit more consistency and, like you had mentioned, fastest offering in any of the Miura family. So first impressions at address, what do we see here?
I mean, when you look at it from the top line's maybe a touch thick, but it's not to the point where a good player is gonna look at it and be like, I can't play that. So, I mean, I'm pretty picky with top line, and I know Miura is too. The way that it looks like from the top is gonna really determine sometimes basically if a person's gonna wanna play this or not.
Sure.
It's not really very offset at all, very minimal. And then when you put it down as a 6 iron, sometimes in this category, you can see the back, can't see it here. But overall, I mean, the iron's beautiful. It's a Miura, see how it feels. Got a pretty challenging shot here, so let's see right out of the gate.
Yeah, we're number 5 at Pebble Beach. A little 200-yard par 3 with just jail right. I mean, that's pretty good out of the gate.
Yeah, I'd take that all day, every day. That felt great.
So cameras come on and you're just ready to party. I love it.
Right out of the gate, just right in the middle. I have an 8-footer for birdie.
Yeah, 99 feet on the apex height, 45 on the landing angle, spin right where we want to see it, 5,600, efficiency 137.
Yeah. And
just to remind everybody, I mean, optic system versus Doppler system, 137 with an iron, that's pretty close to about ideal.
Yeah, I mean, 138's about tour average, so that was pretty much right in the middle of the golf club, even though I missed it just a touch from 10 feet away. Well, I mean, right off the bat, that's the Miura feel. That's the one that I know. I mean, I have a couple of sets of Miuras. I really like Miura feel. That right there was exactly what I think they wanted to do.
And like you mentioned, I mean, a company built in tradition and heritage and really looking at everything it is that they offer in the marketplace being a work of art and the Miura family being craftsmen. I mean, this definitely doesn't take away from that tradition.
That meticulous like visual that they have. They're not gonna release something that's kind of clunky looking or whatever. When you look down at this, you're like, all right, that's what I want to see.
Very clean lines, a lot of bag appeal there.
Yep.
And the sound, even though it's that hollow cavity, the sound is really good.
Hold that one a little bit. That one obviously is gonna go further. In this test, I wanna see how it does as far as with hollow body design, sometimes you get the jumper.
Yep.
That one I pulled, I know that's gonna go long, but I don't want the one where I get up there and I'm like, okay, I wanna carry this 200 and it goes 212.
Sure.
And I don't think that's gonna happen just because they put the right amount of polymer in this. So what we know about the way that they construct this, they put the right amount of polymer in this to achieve certain weights. So they're meticulous about that. And then that face, I mean, it's gonna spring, but it doesn't feel like it's springing off to the point where I felt other irons go boom.
Those jumpers where it's, you're sitting there looking at a back pin at 190 and all of a sudden, like you said, goes 212.
Yeah. That was really good.
Yeah, that's great ball flight.
Well, that's
great sound off the face.
It's exactly what I would expect out of a 6 iron right there. Was that 201 carry, 204 rollout?
And talk to us a little bit about the sole. So they started with this sole design in the 401. and now we've seen it carry over here to IC-602. So talk to me a little bit from visual and feel perspective. What is it that you notice on your end as a player?
When I'm looking at this, you can see that it's cambered pretty good. I mean, that's not too much cambered, but there's some cambering there. So that's gonna help with some effective bounce. And then there's a little shelf in here. So they have their own way of doing this where it enters and exits fast.
Sure.
That's kind of the idea.
So all about consistency for turf interaction.
Yep, and obviously indoors, I'm not really gonna feel that all that much, but this mat, I can still feel a little of that. If there's a bunch of bounce, I'll feel it for sure.
Absolutely.
I think I might have made that one. Let's go. Oh, was that 3 feet?
I mean, that's pretty good. I would happily take that at Pebble Beach any day of the week.
Yeah, that's these definitely feel good. Now I'm gonna work it a little bit. See how workable this is. I'd never hit this shot, but I'm gonna hit a draw. I'm gonna hit a push draw. Yep.
Well, that worked out.
I mean, I would never hit this shot out on this hole. I'm not gonna start it out over the ocean. So what I hear a lot when I'm fitting Miuras, so I'll put Miuras into the mix when somebody's hitting them. They sometimes say, well, I don't know if I'm good enough for that.
Yeah.
Well, so the 302 is very forgiving. You're probably in that category, but I think they're going to get into the category where these people are like, okay, well now, since it's hollow body, I'm getting a lot of technological help. I think this is gonna bring some people into Miura that didn't think they could be in there before.
Ball speed has been very, very consistent and loving it.
Yeah.
So let's pull up some data, take a look and see how this guy's comparing as far as just consistency goes. So good representation of IC-602 there and pretty challenging tee shot. Got to play with shot shapes a little bit.
Yeah.
Now taking a look at some data here, walk us through what you're seeing. What jumps off the table for us?
One thing when I am fitting a hollow body iron for a good player, I'm gonna look at standard deviation right off the bat. So especially when it comes to carry distance and ball speed. So carry distance is 3 on the standard deviation. So I wasn't getting the ones that are going 212 when I'm trying to hit at 200. And then the ball speed at 1.7 on standard deviation. Anything under 2 in standard deviation is awesome. And then consistency in spin. So the spin of 5590 or 5600 at 198, so 198 in the standard deviation, anything under 200 is phenomenal. So
yeah,
so very consistent.
Highest spinning versus lowest spinning.
Yes.
We've got 198. And just to kind of break it down for everybody, that deviation that we're talking about the fastest and the slowest. We're talking about the longest and the shortest. Highest spinning, lowest spinning. So if we're looking at those averages there, I mean, really, really tight. And like you mentioned, when we're kind of working with a hollow cavity iron or a player's distance type iron, which this I wouldn't put in that category.
Right. No.
And I mean, speaking of that, if you're looking at the Miura offering as a whole, where would IC-602 fit in your mind?
So it would be right between the 302 and the 401.
Okay.
So the 401 being more in the game improvement area, and the 302 being in the cavity back, not a filled cavity back situation. So it's right between those two. So it's probably not going to be necessarily as forgiving as the 401, although this is very forgiving. But it's going to be the longest one out of all of them.
I love that. So it gives us an opportunity at full set combos, and like we had talked about, taking that tradition and now marrying it in modern world with tech. You've got an opportunity with IC-602 to really kind of dial it in. Yeah. So really cool iron, made it look good. Miura, very well done, per the usual.
Great. Yeah, felt really, really good. I mean, I am an aficionado when it comes to Miura and the way it feels, and this was right where it should feel.
Perfect. And when you are ready for your next fitting and want to test Miura IC-602, make sure book your next fitting at your local TrueSpec. And with that, we'll see you next time.